very good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aman Goyal, and today I welcome you all to the first Speakeasy presentation for winter 2025. It is an opportunity for UNB grad students to gain experience in giving presentations. See, I'm hosting and I don't have experience in presenting, so it's a platform for UNB grad students to gain experience in presenting their research to non-experts. At the same time, it is an opportunity for UNB to better understand about its own self. So today, I'm very happy to say that we do have with us today Miss Thamarasi Aththanayaka. I'm really sorry if I butchered your name, but she's here from Department of Biology, a PhD candidate, and she's gonna present us her research on the topic urban wetlands, amazing habitats or ecological traps. So please give a round of applause with me and welcome Ms. Thamarasi Aththanayaka on stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. My study it is about urban wetlands. I'm looking at like whether these urban wetlands they are supportive hub for the urban wildlife, or rather they act as an ecological traps for the urban wildlife. So first, I think so. My whole story is about wetlands. So I think it's worth to look at like what are they. So they are aquatic bodies, like they may be seasonal or temporal. These are land pieces saturated with water, and they hold water until they can promote the aquatic life. So they may be either marsh, bog, swamp, fen, or shallow water. So whatever the kind, they are important. So let's see like why wetlands are actually a matter. It is because they provide lot of services. Since there are like very many of them, these services has been categorized into like 4 broad categories. So they provide foods, habitats, fresh water, many more things, or they can regulate flood, climate, and also disease. They also contribute for the water purification. They also support like ecosystem services like nutrient cycling, soil formation, primary production, and also these wetlands have cultural value, educational value, recreational value. So that's why actually wetlands are a matter. So my story is about specific type of wetlands, that is urban wetlands. Actually, urban freshwater wetlands. Why they are important? Because we know urban areas, like there are limited number of natural space for urban wildlife. So the migratory birds, they can use these habitats as their breeding ground, and other wildlife in the urban environment, they can use these habitats. So they promote the biodiversity in the urban environment. But what if they are polluted? This is very possible with the urban environment, because we know in urban areas there are a lot of residential areas, industries, highways, so they can fragment these wetlands. So this is not a like there are a lot of things happening around the urban wetlands. So we don't know these wetlands in the urban areas perform their ecosystem services as other natural wetlands. So that's what I need to study. So this is the focus of my study. As I mentioned earlier, wetlands provide a lot of services. So within 4 years of my PhD, I cannot cover all the services. So I just selected provisioning services. So these wetlands, they provide food in terms of aquatic insects. And also these wetlands, they provide habitats for the birds to make their nest. And these birds, they use these insects to feed their babies during the spring and summer. So I need to know whether these wetlands, wetlands in the urban areas, they provide sufficient amount of these foods for the birds? And what about the quality of these birds? Are these baby birds, they are safe by having these foods? So to study that, I selected some wetlands in the Fredericton area. So this is my study map in 2023 actually. So I had 7 sites, all are within the Fredericton city limits. So one is like Hyla Park Nature Preserve. This is a nature preserve maintained by the New Brunswick Nature Trust, but this is a former landfilling site, so we don't know how contaminated that is and how that affects for the services. And this is a Greenwood Drive located closer to the Hyla Park, but it's a private owned land and small wetland piece. And this is Marysville Flat. It is also located in like quite residential area. And this is Neil's Flat. It is a former hay cultivation land. However, it's like site with lot of shading, lot of trees, so less amount of light. These all 4 wetlands are the floodplains of this Nashwaak River. And apart from that, I had another 3 wetlands. They are floodplains of Nashwaak Sis River, so Wilkinfield, and the Ferry Street Forest and Nature Preserve, again a nature preserve maintained by New Brunswick Nature Trust and located closer to the U-Peak Berry Gardens and also a highway. And this is a small piece of wetland owned by the private, it's a private owned wetland like in Terranova Court. So these are the 7 sites that I selected for my study in 2023, because in my first year, since we do not know anything about these wetlands, we had to do like preliminary study to understand what is going on there. So that's why we selected these 7 sites. So these are some of the data collection activities I have done. So during all the summer, I had these autonomous recording units to record the sounds of birds and bats. So then I can analyze those audio files and then I may know what kind of bird and bat species inhabit in these wetlands. And also I had these emergence traps. They will collect the insects that coming out from the wetlands. So I collected them like once a week throughout the summer. Also, I collected zooplankton and macroinvertebrates for the stable isotope analysis. So from that, I may know that what kind of things these species feed on. Especially this is important because from stable isotope analysis, I would be able to know that the birds, baby birds, whether they feed on the wetlands especially or somewhere else. And also I measured the DO, temperature and water, like this kind of water quality hourly. Also we did light trapping, and also we collected flying like other flying insects like dragonflies and damselflies for fatty acid analysis, because normally aquatic insects, they are nutritionally rich compared to terrestrial insects. That's why most of the birds and bats prefer to feed on the aquatic insects than the terrestrial insects, because they have highly unsaturated fatty acids. So these samples with light trapping and these nets, so I will analyze for the fatty acid. And we also, using a sweep netting, we collected macrobenthos. And then we analyze them using DNA to know the what kind of species available in my wetland sites. And we did a bird point survey as well, apart from these ARUs, but we did just this in only 2023, and we did only 2 times. So with that, I can compare my data from these recorders with the real-time data. That's why we did that. Also we had like algal tiles and cotton strips. These things we kept in those wetlands for 21 days. So these tiles will be colonized by the algae, so then I can analyze their primary production, and these cotton strips, so they will be decomposed by the microbes and the other detritus, so I will be able to know the decomposition of my sites. And also we had these malaise traps around my wetlands to collect the flying insects around the wetlands. And then in 2024 we had some bird boxes for tree soil-overs because I wanted to collect some poop samples and the feather samples from the baby birds. So I had 25 of them. However, most of my sites are like, they are more natural. There are a lot of natural trees, so it looks like they don't like my houses. They rather prefer the natural trees. So out of 25 boxes, just 5 of them were inhabited. So I wasn't that successful in that. So yeah. So these are some of the things that I have done with the data collection. So next, I have to analyze them in the lab. Already I have done most of this analysis, and some of them we can't do in our lab, so we have to send it to other labs and other universities. So we are waiting for some of the results. So once I have all those results, then I can analyze them, and then I will be able to interpret my results. So I'm expecting that I will see something interesting, exciting, and also I hope that my studies important for the urban managers and those who work on conservation field when they make urban management planning and conservation planning. So yeah, and thank you very much for listening for me, and thank you very much for organizing this event.